The Hebrews were still slaves in Egypt, but God had seen them and sent his messenger Moses to Pharaoh to say, "Let my people go." When God saw that Pharaoh would not listen, he gave Moses more instructions.
"Tomorrow, go to the edge of the Nile River, take your staff, and tell Pharaoh that because he refuses to obey me, I am going to show him that I am God. I will strike the waters of the Nile, and all the waters of Egypt will turn into blood."
Early the next morning, Pharaoh met Moses at the Nile. When Moses' staff struck the water, instantly the Nile, with all the rivers and ponds of Egypt, became blood. The fish died and stunk so bad that no one could drink the water. This was the first of 10 plagues God would send to Egypt. The magicians of Egypt also made water turn to blood by their secret arts. So Pharaoh's heart grew hard, and he refused to listen. 7 days later, God sent Moses again, and again Pharaoh refused. So God sent the second plague. An army of frogs covered the whole land of Egypt. They were in the houses, on the beds, in the ovens, and on the plates. Frogs were everywhere. The magicians were also able to bring up frogs through their secret arts, but they could not make them go away. This was a real problem. So Pharaoh begged Moses to pray that God would send the frogs away. The next morning, God did so. All the frogs died, but Pharaoh still did not let the Hebrews go. The next time, when Pharaoh refused, the Lord told Moses to strike the dust of the earth. When he did, the dust became lice throughout all the land of Egypt, on the people and animals. The magicians tried to bring forth lice by their secret arts too, but this plague was too great for them.
"This is the finger of God!"
But Pharaoh's heart remained hard, and he did not listen. So next, the Lord sent a fourth plague on Egypt. This time, thick swarms of flies went throughout all the land. The flies filled the houses and covered the fields, overwhelming and harassing the people. But in Goshen, where God's people lived, there were no flies. God was making a difference between his people and Pharaoh's people. Pharaoh was desperate and called Moses and Aaron to negotiate.
Okay, I'll let you go worship your God, but don't go too far. Now please talk to God about these flies.
I will ask God, as you requested, to remove the flies, but I'm warning you not to change your mind again. So God removed the flies. Not one remained, but still, Pharaoh was unfaithful to what he said and would not let the people go. So God sent a terrible disease upon all the cattle in Egypt, including the horses, the donkeys, the camels, the oxen, and the sheep. But God did not allow the disease to touch any of the animals belonging to his people. Next, God told Moses and Aaron to take handfuls of soot from a furnace and throw them into the air. When they did, the soot became fine dust over the whole land of Egypt, and all the people and animals in the land were now covered with painful boils. Even the magicians, they could no longer stand before Moses. Then God sent fire and ice. Moses went to warn Pharaoh, "Because you still won't listen, tomorrow it will rain hail upon Egypt. Bring your servants and animals in where it is safe." Pharaoh ignored the warning, but his servants, who now feared the Lord, hurried to save their servants and animals, helping them take shelter. When the hailstorm came, everything and everyone that was left in the fields died. But in the land of Goshen, where the Hebrews lived, everyone remained safe. God continued to send Moses to warn Pharaoh, but after 7 plagues, he was still unwilling to listen. So God sent locusts into the land. There were so many that they covered the ground and devoured all that was left in the fields. Pharaoh's servants pleaded with him to let the people go.
Send Moses away. He's destroying all of Egypt. Let the Hebrews go, so they may serve their God. We can't stand this anymore.
So Pharaoh called Moses.
Go already, serve your God, you and all the Hebrew men. But leave your women and your children here with me. They are mine.
No, everyone must go. Pharaoh was angry. He refused to negotiate anymore with Moses. So the Lord said to Moses,
Extend your hand towards heaven, and I will send darkness over the land of Egypt, a darkness so thick that it can be felt.
So Moses raised his hand towards heaven, and a terrible darkness came over all the land of Egypt for 3 whole days. It was so dark the people could not see anyone or go anywhere. But in Goshen, the Hebrews had light. So Pharaoh negotiated again.
You win! You can all go, but leave your animals with me.
Not possible. Our animals must go with us too. When Pharaoh saw that he was not getting his way, he raised his voice.
Get out of my throne room and don't come back here again, or you will die.
Moses had done everything God asked him to do, but the people were still slaves in Egypt. Even after these 9 terrible plagues, Pharaoh had not let the people go.